quarter pounder, please, with ketchup and fries and a frosty milkshake.
You're talking about just fruits and vegetables, right?
Could I go 30 days eating nothing but raw food?
Could I do that?
Uncooked vegetables and fruit for 30 days.
Eat a lot of nuts, I guess.
Not eating any meat, just eating greens, nuts, so on and so forth. No way.
I could. Would I? No. Yes.
Yeah, I could, because I could actually flavor up the foods.
I feel like I would lose a lot of strength and a lot of energy for 30 straight days with just raw food.
And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to do it.
As long as the stuff is clean, I have no problem with it.
No.
This is my story. I was born in Washington, D.C. I got off to a healthy start. My mother believed in natural childbirth, and I was breastfed for my first 7 months. My brother and I were raised in the Montessori method. It made me more curious and self-reliant. Most of all, I learned that I had to get myself out of whatever mess I got into. I didn't have traditional toys, and I loved food from the beginning. Before I could walk, I was already raiding the refrigerator and the sugar jar. My father was an eccentric scientist type. He researched everything. He didn't approve of most television programming, so instead of a television, we had a film projector at home. My father was very strict about food. We weren't allowed to eat any foods with salt, sugar, artificial flavoring, or coloring. Trips to the grocery store were embarrassing to say the least. Everyone else was buying colorful, fun boxes of cereal and other foods in pretty packages. We had mostly fruits and vegetables in our cart. My father was an activist on many issues. And at the grocery store, he didn't let up. He convinced the manager to provide a candy-free checkout lane. My mother is a musician and more of a free spirit. She allowed us some occasional indulgences. When I was 7, my parents split up. My father began taking care of us by himself. He tried his best to cook, but the food he made left a lot to be desired. I can't begin to describe how awkward it was back in the 70s to have such an unusual diet. My friends were mystified by the food we had at home. As a young child, I refused to eat any meat that resembled the creature it came from. I loved animals too much. So I was relieved one day in my 9th grade nutrition class when I learned it was possible to live as a vegetarian. That was the last day I ate meat. When I left home for college, I was in full-scale food rebellion. I was still a vegetarian, but a junk food vegetarian. I lived mostly on pizza, pasta, French fries, and sweets. Although I didn't know it at the time, I was beginning to make a real mess of things. I had just hosted a Halloween party, and my friends really impressed me with their creative costumes. I decided to get a jump on next Halloween right away. There was a costume shop near my house, so I went there to get inspired. A showgirl headdress immediately caught my eye. I had always loved dancing.
Hit it! Look at Little Belle. See her, give 'em hell. Ain't she doing grand? She got a meeting now, got the palm of her hand.
Then I thought I'd let it all be too much for me. Like real dramatic.
So I tried on the costume. I guess I shouldn't have been so surprised by how I looked. But the years of unhealthy habits didn't truly hit me until I saw myself in the mirror that day. I knew I wasn't obese, and by some standards, I was in decent shape, but not by mine. Once upon a time, I was comfortable with how I looked. I had even done some modeling. But that was a long time ago. The truth is, for the last 20 years, I had been a junk food vegetarian and a carb addict. I ate very few fruits or vegetables, except for the grapefruit that grew on my tree. I always ate on the run, and I had a very sedentary life. My work had me at my computer and on the phone all day long. I wasn't exercising at all. But I got used to my limitations. Even though I'd gradually grown from a size 4 to a size 10, and my joints were aching and my energy was low, somehow I had deluded myself into believing that I was reasonably healthy. Sandra, I really like this one, except,
well,
my belly does show here.
Well, you know, here right now is probably not what you really want to show, and if you notice from behind, J-Lo would love it though. I'm not sure, maybe that's what you'd like, but I think a little bit less here.
There was no question my eating habits needed improvement, but I had tried all kinds of diets over the years, and nothing had worked. I had been getting some signs pointing me in a curious new direction. A few years back, my mother invited me to a raw food potluck. There was a tremendous variety of food, and I tried a little of everything. To my surprise, most of it tasted pretty good. The odd thing was that I had so much energy that night that I stayed up late cleaning house, truly a miracle for me. A year later, my friend Linda, a motivational speaker, told me she was going away for a 1-week health retreat. When she returned, I was amazed by how good she looked. Turns out she'd been on a raw food detox. Then my friend Lisa told me about an author named David Wolfe. I looked him up on the web and found he would be giving a talk about raw food in Atlanta the following month.
When you're up in an airplane, you get exposed to radiation. What protects your cells from radiation? Antioxidants. What do you think would be an important nutrient to have in your diet as the atmosphere thins, as there's more radiation than ever before, as there's more carcinogens than ever before? Be antioxidants. And it's coming up in the field of consciousness.
His talk was very informative. He explained why he believed that the raw food lifestyle was the optimal one. Raw food was beginning to make sense. After all, most animals in nature don't get fat, and all they eat is raw food. I decided to enroll in the detox center Linda told me about. The concept was a little intimidating, but I've always loved adventure. As my departure loomed, I thought of Morgan Spurlock, his film Super Size Me, and the powerful effect of 30 days of McDonald's on his health. A light bulb went off in my head. I decided to do the opposite. I wanted to see what 30 days of raw food would do to me. If I needed any further inspiration for this, I only had to think of my grandmother, who had died peacefully in my arms just 6 weeks shy of her 100th birthday. My grandmother taught music for 81 years. She lived such a passionate life because she loved her work, and she was very healthy. She followed a disciplined diet and exercised up to the last year of her life. My grandmother got more exercise than I did. Losing grand-mère took a heavy toll on me, but I took comfort in knowing she'd had a full life. If I wanted to live a healthy, full life like grand-mère, I had to make some changes. The first step was a trip to the doctor's office. Well, I just got weighed, and I'm not sure, but I think the scale said 152, which is heavier than I've ever been. It seems like every time I weigh myself, I'm heavier than I've ever been, so it's not a very good trend. I'm very curious what Dr. Weinberg is going to think about the raw food diet. He is an MD, but he's an alternative MD. He treats people who are more interested in herbal remedies as well as people who want traditional medicine.
If you're going to look at changes over time, it's good to get a baseline. And I would think that checking thyroid, blood sugar, kidney, liver function would be a good place to start, in addition to checking your cholesterol and triglycerides. And I check both the good or HDL cholesterol and the bad or LDL cholesterol.
And do you think all these things may be affected in a 3-week raw detox?
I would expect there would be changes after 3 weeks of a detox diet, yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you, Dr. Weinberg.
You're welcome.
After my doctor's appointment, I decided to go to a raw food detox center in San Diego for 21 days. Afterward, I would return home and stay raw for the rest of the month.
I know Jenna's really concerned about the way she looks and her weight, and I fell in love with her the way she is, but she has to do this for herself. I want her to see herself as beautiful as I see her in my eyes.
From what I'd learned about raw food, I expected to lose weight. Now I didn't know what to pack. I remembered my friend Norman made custom adjustable wrap pants with drawstrings that I could pull tighter if I got smaller. That seemed like the perfect solution. I picked out some fabrics to inspire me, and he had them ready in a couple of days.
What I'd like to do is hear from you what issues you have so I can make sure we can address them as fully as possible.
I'm pretty concerned about my current state of health because I made a list here. My energy is low, my stress is high, I have a tight chest, and sometimes it's so tight I'm afraid that I'm on the verge of having a heart attack. I get frequent colds, I have back pain and neck pain almost all the time. My breathing is very shallow, my sleep isn't restful. I'm heavier than I'd like to be. My joints are stiff. Sometimes when I sit down I have difficulty getting up, or I'm a little bit achy. I'm concerned about my diet. I'm not eating very well. I'm eating out or eating on the run about 90% of the time. I'm a carb and sugar junkie. I bruise easily, and I'm getting very little exercise these days because I hurt my Achilles a couple years ago. I haven't been able to run or do aerobics like I used to, or even dance, which I love to do. And then a year and a half ago, I had a bad thumb sprain, and that still hasn't completely healed. So I haven't been able to lift weights. I haven't been able to do certain yoga positions. And I know there are alternative forms of exercise, but the things that I was accustomed to doing, I can't do anymore.
If we go back to sort of put it all together with your exam, you had mentioned your weight earlier, and you said you're about 5'6". Mm-hmm. So if we're saying, you're almost 5'6", we're saying 130 plus a 10% fudge factor of 143. So ideal if you could, from an insurance company standpoint, if you were 7 pounds lighter, you'd be sort of average.
I want to change my lifestyle is the main thing, and they say it takes 3 weeks, 21 days to build a new habit. Mm-hmm. And so that's part of the strategy in doing this for 3 weeks.
Okay, so we'll see each other after that,
mm-hmm.
and you want to get blood work done at the end of 30 days.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be around the middle of May.
Sounds good.
Okay. I was concerned about coming back to a town where I didn't know a single raw foodist. So before leaving, I started a raw food group on the internet.
Me and Jenna have been together basically every day since we met. She leaves tomorrow for 3 weeks. I know I'm going to miss her while she's gone, but I know it's best for both of us.
I think we're seeing a revolution in the area of consciousness around food because no one kids themselves anymore. No one thinks that junk food is good for you anymore. And the food is treated with so many pesticides, herbicides, larvicides, fungicides, suicides, genetically modified ingredients, hormones, blue dye number 4, red dye number 8, yellow dye number 3, that people are fed up. They're done with it. They know they have to go another direction. And what we're doing with the raw food is just getting back to basic common sense. And then opening up the array of possibilities that are available with raw food. For example, I'm a big fan of the chocolate nut, which is actually a nut like an almond. That's what all chocolate is made out of. Billions of people on the planet have eaten chocolate, and literally less than 0.01% of those people have eaten the raw chocolate nut or the cacao bean. And when I found that out, when I first ate a cacao bean, it was revolutionary. And that's how it's been with all these raw foods. It's like people don't know about this. People have never had this. I mean, people love chocolate. They never had the real thing before. And I mean, what a joy it is to bring this information to people.
Down south. Down south. Where are you going to?
Optimum Health Institute.
Oh, OHI?
Right, OHI.
What are you doing there? You're going to just...
I'm going for 3 weeks to do a kind of the raw food and detox program.
You take people there and by chance you bring them back. I see a lot of difference. They lose the weight, they're happy, and they're relaxing. That's such a nice place.
Well, that's pretty exciting, and that's nice to hear. What's the most dramatic change you ever saw in anybody that you picked up?
Yeah, I picked up a lady from the airport Sunday, bring him to the OHI, and by the chance, I take him back to the airport. She lose like between 30 and 28 pounds. She was really happy. She gave me a good tip.
The taxi driver has noticed such a dramatic change in people when they leave here, then it must be pretty remarkable what goes on behind these gates.
When I first came to the program, I hated it. I walked into the dining room, and everyone was grazing. And I was like shocked because I didn't expect it. I was hoping to come to a place, something like a Club Med, and hang out on the beach and hang out hang out, by the pool and, hang out at the bar at night and, socialize and have a good time. And here people were sitting around grazing. And I felt like that lady in the commercial years ago, where's the beef? Where's the beef? What are you people doing? What's wrong with you? And they were enjoying it. And I was like, what are you people out of your mind? This food isn't cooked. No, this isn't happening. I fell into a nightmare. And so I sat in the back of the room during most of the classes, and they were saying things that made sense.
Funny thing about health and disease, my theory on this is, when you're sick, you know it. You have a runny nose, or your head hurts, or your tummy hurts, and when it does, even if your toe hurts, little pinky toe, you're pretty much disabled. But then you get into disease and cancer and MS and all those other things, you know how sick you are. But what does the other side of the spectrum look like? How healthy are you? If you don't feel bad, you assume you're healthy. Doesn't mean you could have more energy, your skin could look better. But so we live in this kind of I'm okay healthy. I would like to see what really healthy feels like.
It's my first day at the Raw Detox Institute, and I had my orientation today. Got a pretty good overview of what the next 3 weeks are going to be like. Today was my first raw meal. It was a dinner of all different kinds of sprouts and something that was called seed cheese, which was made out of carrots and other things.
My experience in detoxing with others has been, if you break a fingernail, they say, oh, you're detoxing. If your eye hurts, oh, you're detoxing. I was vomiting, oh, you're detoxing. How do they know the difference between detoxing and you're really like call 911?
Tomorrow morning, our schedule starts with 7:30 a.m. exercise, followed by 8:30 breakfast, and then we go into learning about the program, sprouting instructions, sauerkraut instructions, juicing instruction, lunch, tools for change, your life is a gift. I guess we're learning about how to be more grateful, and mind-body connection, more exercise, dinner, and then relaxation and pain control. So that takes me from 7:30 a.m. tomorrow until 7 p.m. A very important aspect of this detox is cleansing our colons. And so we have to do enemas. And we have to do implants, which are with wheatgrass juice. And wheatgrass is apparently extremely healthy for the colon. I'm overwhelmed at the moment. I'm feeling pretty good, just very tired. I'll see you tomorrow, Tuesday, day 2.
I discovered wheatgrass juice. I'd always had a shot of it. You know, I'd go to a local store and get a shot. Didn't know why I would do it. It seemed like it'd be healthy. I'd hold my nose and drink some water and go, okay, it's in. It must be doing something good for me. Apparently wheatgrass does everything except drive your car.
So when I take my 2-ounce shot of wheatgrass, I just feel this zing of, energy go into my body, and I just feel so much more energetic. What is that? I can imagine all those, nutrients going into my body, and I just know that I'm really fueling myself in a way I didn't know how to before I started this raw food thing.
It's day 2 of the raw detox cleanse, and my weight today is 149, so I'm making progress. It is amazing how busy I am every day with classes, exercise, meals. Not that there's very much food, but you've got to chew a lot when it's raw food, so it takes time. And then we have our appointments that we schedule, like massage, colonics, chiropractic, and then we choose our wheatgrass every day, twice a day. So almost every minute of the day is occupied with something. But it's been kind of nice to trade in my old calendar, this one, when my days were very full, but just about everything I did was for other people. Today was pretty intense. We had 2 classes on elimination. Interesting things that came up about how important it is to keep our colons clean. Our instructor mentioned that there are people who've come through and pretty funny things came out of their colonics from childhood, like a pink Barbie shoe, 3 marbles in one man, and a piece of a crayon in another. And these things can get stuck in our systems for decades. I found out that how long it takes certain things to pass through our system. A dead cow takes 3 days. Raw vegetables, 15 hours, and raw fruit, 6 hours. Well, this is my kitchen for the duration of my 3-week stay, and it's an unusual kitchen in that there's nothing in the cupboards, and the stove is disconnected. It's not functional, so even if I were tempted to come and make myself an omelet, I couldn't do that. And actually no food from the outside is allowed on campus. It really helps with discipline.
The biggest problem we have today is not some war, it's not the economy, it's not crime. It's constipation. Right? And think if we put a colon hydrotherapist in the capital of the United States. Because, right, all those politicians are full of
something.
You know what I mean.
What is that? Something up your butt?
Yeah, I have considered doing that. Cleaning my system out for sure.
I guess if I believed it actually did something, I guess I would.
It's good for the hair and skin.
I would if to clean out my body. It would clean out your body if you're, especially if you're eating a large amount of meat products. So I would do that. It would assist in my digestive tract. Sure.
I guess I would maybe if I needed it. If a doctor thought I needed it for health reasons.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd benefit from it or not. If somebody could prove to me that I would and that it'd be more healthy, then maybe I would.
You can just clean that shit out.
I've never had a colonic, and no, I would not consider having one. Thank you.
My friend Tanya has graciously offered to demonstrate a colonic. And so we're going to see what happens in the colonics room. And for a lot of people, it's a big mystery, but it won't be anymore.
Do 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 do.
I want you to take in and hold as much water for me as you can hold comfortably. And when you feel uncomfortable, let me know.
Like,
I
okay.
want you to go to the point as if you were having one of the worst cases of diarrhea you've ever had in your life, and absolutely couldn't wait one more second to hit that toilet.
Okay.
Okay?
My biggest fear was the whole inserting the tube and if it was going to hurt, and so I'm really sensitive and I'm a big chicken. And amazing, it does not hurt at all. The insertion, everything it's very easy, and right now it's not uncomfortable. It's just, I can feel there's something there, and I can feel a little bit of pressure going on, but it's really not that big a deal. People stress themselves out over that part, which that part only takes a second, and then you're fine.
We enter a speculum into the rectal area about 2 inches. Once it starts filling, we're going to go into the sigmoid area, over to the sigmoid flexure, up the descending colon, the splenic flexure, the transverse colon, the hepatic flexure, and down into the cecum area. This is usually where a lot of parasitic sit.
I think I might be starting to feel full.
Okay. Let's switch the dials. This needle can go anywhere it wants to. Watch the stuff going out of there. You've got a lot of gas. I'm seeing that for sure.
Oh my! Is it
You're also not
old
drinking
stuff?
very much water.
Really?
How much water are you drinking?
I'm drinking the recommended amount. It's like 2 quarts.
Not enough for you. Either that or you're keeping yourself too stressed.
I'm not stressed.
Yeah, but you're keeping yourself too stressed, or you're not
Probably
drinking
not
enough
drinking
water,
enough water.
for you. Because I see it, and I nail them right to the wall. I don't cut them any slack when they're in here. They can tell me anything they want. They can say, oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, you did. Don't tell me you didn't have coffee last night, because you probably did. I'm going to see it. And if you did, I'm going to tell you you did. It's a little liver bile going on, not a lot. I would say she probably drinks some alcohol, but not very much.
I don't drink at all. I haven't drank any alcohol for like...
Doesn't matter. It's in your cells of your liver.
Could be in my cells for sure. I was an alcoholic, or I am an alcoholic. Not was. I am an alcoholic.
Okay.
But it's more than 100 days now.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Still in the cells. Takes out about a year for it to release that.
Oh, wow. And what are you doing right now?
I'm just massaging the colon to see if we can't get some of this out. She took a nice big fill.
Good job, Tanya.
Yay.
Oh my God. And you thought you wouldn't have anything left.
I didn't think I'd have any. I was like, I don't know, I've had 7 colonics. No, I won't have anything.
Well, we have a little more.
You're doing great, Tanya.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
And we still have
There
stuff.
she goes again.
But you can see the little food particles in there that you didn't chew very well.
Oh, and that's my goal, is to chew out.
See this? Look at this.
The truth. The truth.
Digestion starts in the mouth. It's the biggest asset you have. Well, the implant puts good flora and bacteria back into the bowel tract, but with wheatgrass, it energizes and feeds the bloodstream. It goes direct to the blood, goes direct to the liver. So the bloodstream takes it throughout the whole body. Every cell of your body gets it. Okay, we're getting ready to do the implant. We're going to take the wheatgrass juice and I'm going to put it in her through a special tube that I have here. It'll go through the water tube. It'll go right in through into her body. Hopefully we'll see how long she can hang on to it. I suck it right up into this little tube here. It's actually a hypodermic needle for horses if you want to really get graphic. And I put it shoot it right through into this tube.
Just feels like a zing, like, woo! Something's dancing around down
does.
there. What's going on?
Yes, it does. Okay, I'm going to disconnect this so I'll be ready to rock and roll with it when she's done.
All right, I think I've had it.
Okay.
Can't take it anymore.
We're going to release this wheatgrass and see what she does with it.
It's amazing, the implant, when you do the wheatgrass implant, how much better you feel. It gives you energy. It totally revitalizes your skin. You look younger.
Okay, Tanya, it's been fun. Thank you so much.
I'll be back. Okay. Bring my mom with
All
me.
right, do good. Take care of yourself.
All right,
Thanks
for all the great
Thank
information.
You. You're welcome.
That's
All
really
right.
helpful.
All right, thank you.
Good colonic.
So that was good for her because you see how long it took her to fill. She didn't think she was filling fast enough because obviously she was being filled too fast before. But she still got an ample amount out today, more than I would have thought after 8 colonics.
It's day 3 here at the Raw Detox Center, and my weight today was 147.5, so pretty happy about that. Not so happy about some news I just learned. Breaking news today. We don't have television here, and so I rely on my boyfriend, David, to let me know what's going on in the outside world.
He told me there's a new food pyramid that recommends 3 glasses of milk and 2 alcoholic beverages a day for adults.
I just find that shocking and so much in contrast with what I am learning here. We had a digestion class, and that was taught by someone named Doc Andy. He said the human body can heal itself given the right circumstances, that 300 billion new cells are created in our bodies every 24 hours. When we cut ourselves, we heal naturally, and that's the way it is with the rest of our bodies too, and other illnesses and injuries, that our bodies are designed to heal. He said if you want to live longer, eat less. The more good food you eat, the less food you'll feel that you need to eat. And oftentimes we feel we need to eat more food because we're not getting nutrition from our food. It's just filler. And so your body is hungry for nutrition. It's hungry for nourishment. And so it just craves more and more food, and you don't ever get satisfied. At the Institute, I met all kinds of people who came for a wide variety of reasons. In comparison with some, my problems seemed pretty insignificant.
When I was 25 years old, the doctor had discovered 32 polyps in my colon and removed them, and it was a horrible experience to go through. About 4 or 5 months after I healed from the surgery, I asked my doctor what I could eat, and he said, eat whatever you want to. I said, meaning I can start going back to spaghetti again? And he said, yeah, eat whatever you want to. So I did. My life went on as normal. And when I got into my early 30s, the doctor found more polyps into my colon. They were very concerned about it because most people don't get them at that age, so he removed them. And then when I was 37 years old, he found more. And at the same time, he found that I had diverticulitis. The ironic thing is, as I was going through all this my whole life, my brother, his wife and mother had gone raw several years ago, and he knew how good it was, and he, for 10, 15 years, pounded me to start doing it. And I just refused to do it. I refused to do it until the day the doctor told me about removing part of my colon. After the 5th day that I was here, I had no more pain in my stomach. The nauseation went away, no longer threw up. After 3 weeks of detoxing raw, I lost 30 pounds. I feel great.
Yeah, I was introduced to raw foods when my mom was really, really sick about 12 years ago or so. She was actually dying of cirrhosis of the liver. Her stomach had been so extended, and she had lost so much weight. She had shriveled up, and she was bedridden. And just by chance, we ran into somebody who introduced us to some lady called Queen Afua in Brooklyn, New York, and we went over there, and she put my mom on a raw food diet. And within a week or two on this diet, my mom had gained weight. I thought she'd lose more, eating just raw veggies and stuff, but she actually gained weight, and her stomach went back in, and she had tons of energy. She was out of the bed and up and about, and it was just amazing.
John was hoping to cure his multiple sclerosis.
I started to deteriorate. I mean, I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis, about probably 8 years ago when I was a graduate student at MIT. My first 5 years, I really fought the MS. I did marathons, and I really worked my body to stay in shape.
We had both kind of gotten off the path, you know, lost some faith along the way, for obvious reasons. You know, why us? Why? And I don't think John ever said that, but I always said, why him? Because he's such a perfect person. He's just so great.
We're changing the way we eat. We're changing our whole life. We outfitted a full kitchen, assuming that we're going to be cooking meals for the rest of our lives. And we're going to have to redo that. We're going to have to re-outfit our kitchen around raw food, you know, different appliances, and the preparation. I mean, I'm going to be drinking wheatgrass for the rest of my life to make sure that I can stay as healthy as possible. I've really noticed that maintaining my health allows me to feel better and allows me to rid myself of symptoms.
Christina, a beauty queen, was dealing with lung cancer.
I'm Christina Wells, 21 years old, representing South Spring Island.
When I was 15, I found out I had a benign tumor in my kneecap, and it took up, I think, about 60% of my kneecap. And they took out part of my knee and replaced it with bone, and then 5 years later, I thought everything was fine. And one day at work, I coughed up blood and found out that the tumor had spread from my knee to my lungs. So I was in the hospital for a while last year, and right now I'm just kind of trying to detox and get rid of the 3 remaining tumors that are left in my right lung.
You know, we've all been separated. We've all been taught under the consciousness that we're separate from the Divine One, and it's not true. It's not true. We are one. We are one with the One. And somewhere along the line, someone separated us and divided us, and we became tribal, and we became nations and cities, and we in synagogues and churches and mosques, and we became fundamentalists, and we're all one. In the scriptures, it says that I'm giving you the fruit, or the tree with the fruit-bearing seed. It shall be meat unto you. It is living food for living people. We are living people. And the raw helps this thing, this body, this beautiful temple, this wonderful incarnation, to heal itself.
Kathy Sledge of Sister Sledge modified the lyrics to one of her popular songs.
I've been to several different detoxing programs, and one of them was with my sister, and one I was by myself, and I changed the lyrics to We Are Family, and I had the whole place singing, Wheatgrass family, I've got all my implants with me, which was hilarious. And if you understand what detoxing's all about, and wheatgrass and implants, you really love it. But it's all good for you.
Betty, a great-grandmother, took me to her organic garden.
Strawberry Alyssa grew.
Look at that.
I wonder what Daisy will do with the worms.
Look there. Look, Daisy likes them too.
I keep thinking they're cat
Look at Daisy.
A little girl in San Diego impressed me with her knowledge of nutrition.
Orange are good for you. Orange juice is good for you. But popsicles are really bad for you. They have milk in them, too. A lot of things have milk in them and sugar.
Brian Clement, director of another raw food detox center, came through San Diego while I was there.
The first phase of everyone's recovery is changing your attitude and finding a reason to live.
Well, I think the main thing about raw food that's unique is it has life force in it. A cooked seed won't grow, a raw seed will. It has that intangible factor. It has the divine God force, the force that makes everything grow, rejuvenate, rebirth, and develop. Raw food is enzymatically active. And what that means is that there's some kind of catalyst in raw food that is not present in food when it's cooked. A raw fruit will continue to ripen. A cooked fruit will decay through bacteriological action. This is due to enzymes. The raw food contains enzymes. When you put raw food in your body, what it does is it creates a catalytic effect. It starts moving things. One of the things about all these diets, whether it's the popcorn diet, the Atkins diet, the zone diet, the protein diet, the antibiotic diet, whatever kind of diet people are on is all the same. They're really not much different from each other. But when you start taking, for example, 20 ounces of fresh vegetable juice and putting that in your body, things change. That's enzymes. And it may be projectile emissions out of every orifice. That's a possibility. In addition to that, raw food has more vitamin C, it has more B vitamins, it has more beta-carotene. All the vitamins are degraded by heat. Not only that, amino acids are degraded by heat. Max Planck Institute did a study and found out that 50% of protein is degraded by heating the food, meaning you need twice as much protein if you cook the food as if you eat the food raw.
What does my diet consist of? I would say lots of cheeseburgers, Italian food, Chinese food, basically everything I want, anything I want. Yep.
The main reason why I eat raw food is because it just has so much joy in it. It's still happy. When food's been treated with greed and when it's been cooked down and boiled and broiled and microwaved, it just doesn't have, there's nothing in there for me. Regardless of all the nutrients and vitamins and minerals and enzymes and all that stuff, it's the energy that's behind it, which is the main reason that motivates me. And I think a lot of people intuitively or instinctively get that.
It's the last day of my juice fast, at least for this week. I'll probably do the juice fast again for the next 2 weeks for maximum results. The hypo juice, which is really good for people who are diabetic or hypoglycemic or have issues with candida. There are a whole series of things that this juice is good for because it doesn't have the high sugar content. And this one is made with cucumber, celery, cabbage, sprouts, and zucchini. The regular juice is made with the same ingredients, but either beets or carrot juice are added to sweeten it. I am going with the hypo juice because I tend to be a sugar junkie and I'm trying to wean myself off of sugar. You feel pretty satisfied usually after one glass, which surprises me. The first day I had 2 glasses thinking that 1 glass couldn't possibly be enough, but I'm cutting back to just 1 glass of juice. I was very excited. I weighed in this morning and I've dropped another pound. I'm now at 146.4. I am more energetic now than I was before I came here. I feel happier. It will be nice to eat solid foods again tonight. I'm not sure what we'll be having, but I imagine that they'll taste really delicious after drinking just juice. This is our first solid food in 3 days. We have a vegetable soup and applesauce. The vegetable soup is for people who are avoiding sugar, and the applesauce is for people who aren't avoiding sugar. And then we have Asine crackers, which are made of dehydrated sprouts and seasonings. And right now it's looking pretty decadent.
It's interesting because I'm not a raw food person, and I don't really cook. And so now they're introducing things like dehydrators and juicers, which I have, and wheatgrass juicers, and it's a little overwhelming. I know the hardest thing going back to my life is going to be having meals with people. How do you eat when everyone's eating roast chicken and potatoes and beans that came out of a can that are covered in butter, and then they've got this big dessert? Oh my God, Thanksgiving. In fact, my whole life is about food. I can define my calendar by what I'm eating. So we start out in January. We're drinking champagne. We're having berries. Then we get into February. Oh, February's chocolate because can't wait for Valentine's Day. Then it's Easter eggs and lots of big fat ham. Then it's springtime. Oh, wait, barbecue time. July 4th, we got to go out and cover the ribs with barbecue sauce. Oh, my birthday. Can't forget my birthday. Big cake. My birthday is not complete without a 7-layer German chocolate cake like my mom used to make. Moving on into September. Oh, now we're getting kind of cold. We have to have apple cider and we have to have cookies. Oh, love chocolate chip cookies. Then it's Halloween. Let's go to other people's homes and get candy. Oh, yes. Now I've got this bucket of candy sitting there. Oh, I love, and the only ones I don't eat are the peanut ones, but everything else is mine. They gave me chocolate. They must be good for you. Thanksgiving, turkey dinner, stuffing, pies. Oh, pecan pie, pumpkin pie. Have a slice of each one of them. Then it's Christmas. Oh, we do it all over again. We're back to champagne going, oh my God, I'm tired. I've eaten all this food. What am I going to do on a raw food diet? So honestly, I'm a little nervous. I know that I need some support to do this. I would like to see the world change. I would like to see people understand that what they're eating and putting in their body is crap.
I decided a week. I needed a week. And it was miraculous. With 2 little babies and a husband overseas, I was able to take a week and do a detox program, and it was incredible. This is more about losing weight. This is about gaining health and vitality and spiritual awareness. It just connects your whole body, mind, spirit to something bigger than yourself. And that was what was so powerful for me about the raw diet versus anything else I could have tried. But while on the detox program, I actually discovered that women who are married to smokers have an increased chance of getting cervical cancer, even if they're not smoked around, because of the semen getting the nicotine in it. And so I gave him an ultimatum. He either had to quit smoking or wear a condom for the rest of our lives. He chose to quit smoking, so he stopped 2 days ago.
The Institute wouldn't allow us to film much on campus, so we found an apartment next door for the crew. I brought some food back for the crew to sample. This morning when I got up and looked in the mirror, I noticed that that my waist is starting to come back, that my waistline is starting to come back, and it reminds me of how I looked a little while ago before I started gaining this weight. And I'm getting more flexible. And now I can touch my toes. We're doing exercise class every morning, and what's really astounding is that my Achilles does not hurt anymore at all. Also, my thumb that has hurt, it's incredible. It's not painful, and I'm feeling like I'm getting strength back. And in exercise class, I was able to put some weight on my left hand. David Wolf's raw food business is located near OHI, and they had their 10-year anniversary celebration while I was in town. Backstage, I was introduced to some delicious gourmet ways to prepare raw food. This was quite a departure from the detox diet I was on.
Deluxe double ice cream custard cake on top of chocolate chia bread with double chocolate fudge sauce.
Now this is food I can get excited about.
I try to eat a meat product every day with my meals, so it's cooked items. I think it helps my strength to have the protein.
The highest protein source in the world, the most concentrated source of protein of any food in the world, is spirulina, which is a blue-green spiral algae that fed some of the greatest civilizations on this earth, including pre-Columbian Mexico City. That city was fed spirulina, a dried algae from the lakes there, as their primary source of protein for literally thousands of years. One of the main things about these really concentrated protein sources when they're raw is that they're highly absorbable. You get everything. You get all the protein. You're not missing tryptophan or phenylalanine or some of these amino acids which are degraded by heat. Other sources of protein, nuts like almonds. That's another way to go. And vegetables in general. Vegetables in general are good basic protein sources. It's not concentrated like spirulina or even meat. It's not that kind of concentration, but it's basic building blocks which are necessary.
Today is day 10, and my weight is now 140. So 12 pounds down since I got here. And we check off the water portions to make sure we get enough water, and Rejuvelac and wheatgrass and exercise, and the E's and the I's, which are the enemas and the implants. And we've got to check those off every day and make sure that we're on track. I can't believe how productive my colonics are still. I've been a vegetarian for 24 years, and I never, ever would have guessed that there was so much buildup in my colon. It's embarrassing to even talk about it, because this is something 2 weeks ago I never would have discussed with anybody. But I'm beginning to realize how important the cleanliness of the colon is to your overall health.
I think that people have got to realize that they are powerful. They can create their own reality. If you don't have organic produce in your neighborhood, start your own little co-op up. You can find 5 or 6 people in your neighborhood, maybe even your kids or your husband, who will eat up all the produce and order it yourself. Just get a minimum order going, or get your garden going, right? Create a garden, get your own organic vegetables happening, and then you're completely in control. One of the best solutions to all the problems we're facing today, and I'm talking every problem, from the economy and jobs disappearing and whatever's going on, is growing your own fresh food.
It's day 16, and I am at 139 pounds, which is 13 pounds down from when I started. But I've been holding at that weight for 5 days. I was told that this is typical and that I'll just stabilize at this weight for a little while and then start dropping again. So that's encouraging. The good news is the love pants Norman made for me are on their tightest possible adjustment. This watch that was tight on me, was probably cutting my circulation off before, is now has some play in it. We learned that anything we put on our bodies gets into our bloodstream. So I've changed my deodorant, I've changed my toothpaste, I've changed my shampoo and conditioner, and I'm not going to get acrylic nails anymore. An amazing thing. I was prescribed glasses for the first time about 8 months ago, and I had a lot of eye strain, and I was told I had a slight astigmatism in both eyes, and so I needed to wear them all the time, otherwise my eyes hurt. Well, since I've been here, I have never needed to wear my glasses once. Just 6 days ago, we planted these seeds in one of my classes, and already they're really growing well. This is buckwheat, this is wheatgrass, and this is sunflower. And the challenging thing about this room is the view. I've got the beacon of Burger King, my biggest weakness, and China King, another weakness. I love Chinese food. So I have to look at this every day and every night and be strong. Instead, I'm taking really good care of my sprouts, and I'm making peace with my addictions.
We live in the most abundant culture ever. We have access to everything. People go to their store and they say, I want grapes with seeds in it, but they don't have it at my store. It's like, ask. Tell them you're not going to buy the other stuff. And guess what? They'll do it for you. That's the power that's within us. So that's one of the things I like to stress is we're not a victim. We are empowered to make choices that basically lead us down the path where we want to go.
My mom was always 100 pounds overweight. So getting pregnant and not being 25, I was freaked out that I would, be big and fat. So I cut out all the caffeine, drank lots of water, ate lots of salmon, just really did the research to try and feed these new babies the best that they could get. I pushed out 2 7-pound twins. Amazing. We take them to a girlfriend's first birthday party, and you know what they serve these precious little creatures that I created and just made fresh out of the oven? Cheese doodles, pizza, and cake with buttermilk icing. And I'm thinking, are you nuts? These creatures are just so pure, they're so new, let's not give them crap. But that's what we feed our children.
my last full day of 3 weeks on the raw food detox, and I am holding steady at 15 pounds released. Someone here said, don't say you lost them because you might end up finding them again. So now I'm saying I've released 15 pounds. It blows my mind that I've been doing colonics for 3 weeks now. I think I've done a total of 6, and I had one today, and it was still very productive. It makes me wonder how much more is in there. I've made a lot of great friends, and that is a big help because I'm going to need a support system to stay with this lifestyle. And I don't really know many people who are raw foodists back home, but that's going to change. I think some of my friends will be intrigued. They already are intrigued. They want to know everything about it when I get back. I just feel great. So I am definitely sticking with this raw food when I get home.
I'm human, and I know that. And I would love to say I'm going to leave my detox institute and be 100% raw. I would be lying to myself. I don't know. My head hurts actually thinking about it because I would love to do this. And then I'm thinking about, I miss my cooked salmon. How about some sautéed vegetables? And I'm nervous that a cheesecake is going to sit in front of me and go, "Hey, eat me." And I'm going to go, "Sure, you remind me of my past. I could eat cheesecake." Oh. And then afterwards I'm going to have this guilt, which is also a very bad negative thing, going, "Oh God, I said I was going to do raw, no dairy. Now I've done it. Now I beat myself up." And that's the worst thing you can do to yourself. So I'm going to give myself a caveat. I'm going to try to be 70% raw. That other 30% don't know what it looks like. And my big promise to myself is I will not beat myself up for the choices I make.
It's day 22, my last day in San Diego, and I'm still raw for the most part, except that last night I had eaten an onion in my dinner salad, and I had this very strong onion breath, and I just grabbed a mint and popped it in my mouth before I realized this isn't raw. This is not part of the program. So I spit it out, and it's just amazing the little things that we do, little just reflex things we do without thinking. I hadn't been exposed to candy or anything that was out of the program in 3 weeks, so it's just kind of a retraining of my brain to be in this other world off campus where there are temptations everywhere and things that are just a basic part of everyday life are not on the program. I just noticed what David wrote on this card. He said, "You're already the most beautiful showgirl I've ever seen."
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That looks different.
Your face is a little different. And you're glowing. You're absolutely glowing.
I got back to Sarasota yesterday, and I did a big shopping outing at Whole Foods and the Granary. And so I'm well stocked up and well armed against all the temptations around. Right now I can smell the French fries over at O'Leary's restaurant here on the near the marina. And I've only got less than a week left before the 30 days is up. So I'm doing just light exercise every day and keeping it raw, and we'll see what happens in 30 days. My friend Joya took very good care of my pets while I was gone. The long walks seemed to have slimmed Rex down. I decided to take him for walks more often. Our local farmers market had a lot of organic produce from local growers. I love flavor, so there was no way I was going to give that up. I found a vendor with organic spices at the farmers market. And I discovered that Whole Foods has a great selection of organic food and spices. There was even a section with prepared raw foods. Maybe there's something to that old adage that the older you get, the smarter your parents get. When I thought back, I finally realized that my father wasn't trying to torture us with fruits and vegetables. He wanted us to be healthy. Hi, Dad! I bought a few raw recipe books, including one by the famous raw chef Giuliano. When I'm at a loss for what to make, I just Google raw recipes until I find something that looks good. My meetup group had grown while I was away, and our first raw potluck was fantastic. I was really impressed with some of the gourmet things people made. We had sunburgers, vegetable pâté, and yam bisque, to name a few. It was a real buffet. One young woman shared her story of healing herself of cancer with the help of raw food.
4 or 5 months, I was diagnosed with stage 4 precervical cancer cells, and I was told I'd probably have to get a complete hysterectomy. And I said no. And I did a week-long green juice fast and got onto a raw food diet again. I went back to the doctor within a few months, and it was gone. All the bad cells had completely died from the diet that I was on. I was able, with green juice and fresh raw food, to kill the cells that were in my body.
I was surprised to find that my friends were actually interested in learning more about raw food. So a few of us got together and made a raw dinner.
So flavorful. So good.
I observed what my friends' children were eating and noticed that the kids always seemed to like fruit. At OHI, I learned that whatever you put on your skin ends up in your bloodstream. So I was excited to find out about a new day spa in Sarasota that uses organic products in its services. My life at home changed dramatically. I had learned about natural toiletries and household cleaners, so I had some shopping to do. David was very supportive, and he enjoys raw food too. Now, instead of watching television like a couple of couch potatoes at the end of the day, we play in the kitchen and invent new recipes. My new raw kitchen is equipped with a juicer, dehydrator, and blender. The stovetop is used for extra counter space. We love putting different fruits and vegetables in the dehydrator to see how they come out. It's easier to drink a smoothie than to eat all that fruit, and smoothies are delicious. Juicing was new to me. You get such a burst of energy from all those nutrients. Wheatgrass juice did wonders for me at OHI, so I found out where I could get it at home. Since my new Green Star juicer juices wheatgrass, I made juice for some friends. All of our scraps go into the compost. My friend Joe is an expert on composting.
We're going to show you how to compost. Compost 101, okay? Ready? There you go. That's basically it, all right? Have a little bit of dirt to bury it, you know?
I get the sand there, which has to cover it because it's Florida and we live on one big fat sandbar.
No, we don't have. We're going to get you a shovel, okay?
Okay.
And
I
then
got a shovel.
Just chop. You just you chop it up into smaller pieces so it'll break down quicker, and mix it in with some sand over top of it. Mix it all in, and just keep it buried for any mammals to come by and get it.
Plants in there,
Yard
basically, right?
clippings, anything that's vegetable based, in it goes. There you go.
I needed to keep up some light exercise, so I signed up for yoga classes. David and I even found one we could do together. Spirituality was an important aspect of what I learned at OHI. When I went to church, I felt my spirituality on a deeper level. David and I have our own way of praying together. My old clothes were all too big, so I asked my friend Sandra to help me pick out some new, smaller clothes.
Oh my God, look at that. My heavens, honey. Beautiful. And look at that butt. Now you can finally show it and be proud of it. You must have lost a lot of weight around your thighs.
I did.
My heavens. And look at those arms. Before you used to wear your hair like this. And now you can wear your hair like this and put it up. But man, you look fantastic.
Socializing is a little different when you're eating raw. It becomes less about the food and more about the company you're with. At the farmer's market, I ran into my dancer friend Taja. I told her about my dream of dressing up as a showgirl. She said the following week she'd be putting on a variety show with a showgirl segment. Taja said she could give me a couple of showgirl lessons and that I could be in the show. This was beyond what I'd hoped for. I was actually going to perform as a showgirl, and it wasn't even Halloween yet. I took some dance classes at the Y to prepare myself. The classes were high impact, and no pain in my Achilles anymore. It was time to check in with my doctor to find out my weight and whatever changes he could determine from my new blood test.
$137 3/4. You were 152 the last time.
137 3/4. Not bad. Well, my doctor is on his way in to assess my lab results.
So, how was it?
Hi there. Hi. It was great.
Really? Are you a different person?
I feel a lot better.
So we have the two side by side to compare. The blood sugar dropped 10 points. That's glucose. That's the top one there, which is good. You know, you're in the much more normal range now. Actually, sort of low normal, which is good. You know, you're on the low side of normal, but still within normal range. That's good. Your cholesterol, which is good to start with, dropped to 50 points, which is pretty dramatic, from 156 down to 103. So that's pretty impressive.
Wow.
The LDL, or bad cholesterol, also dropped dramatically from 84, which is already good, down to 47, which is incredibly good. So that's great. Likewise, your triglycerides are already low at 59, normal's less than 150, down at 47, even better. That's very good as well. And you developed a little bit of an anemia, interestingly enough. You went from 4.28 in your red blood cells down to 4.11, which is very mildly anemic at this lab. So that's also something you want to watch. You want to check your B12 and folic acid levels, and maybe even check your iron levels sometime next few months, be sure they haven't dropped.
Okay, thank you so much.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Great.
So, good news, for the most part. Since everything looked good except for my B12 and iron levels, I scheduled a call with my raw guru, David Wolf. Definitely want to stick with the raw food diet, and I would love some help from you as to how I can get those two things in better balance.
That's great. Well, let's talk about iron first. Well, the best thing to do to start with is to start consuming more green vegetable juices that contain, for example, vegetables like parsley, dandelion, and spinach. Some of the summer fruits that are going to be coming in here soon, cherries, for example, are really high in iron. Really, it's the color that gives it away. The dark red berries, cherries, are rich in iron. There are supplemental products that are out there that are good for this transition over. They give you so much iron in a natural form.
Thank you very much, David, for your help.
Thank you.
I went back to the costume shop and tried on the showgirl costume again. It was nice to see that I was a lot less puffy. I was beginning to feel more like a showgirl already. Well, I feel much better about the way I look in this costume, and I owe it all to raw food. My big night arrived, and I was very nervous. I'd never been on stage as a showgirl before, and I was afraid I'd forget my steps. I've changed my mind about my Halloween costume, though. I want to be a different kind of showgirl.
Come stay with me all day and night. I love you.
Hey, how did you get in my kitchen? Well, now that you're here, you may be wondering what happened after my 30 days on raw food. Well, it's been 2 years since then, and I stayed raw for 90 days. Never felt better in my life. After 90 days, I thought, what the heck, I can start eating pizza and pasta again and just make more responsible choices. That's when I discovered my serious addiction to white flour and sugar, because I was out of control. Before I knew it, that's all I was eating again. So within just a few months, all my health problems started to come back, all my weight started to come back, and I suffered with that for 10 months before I realized that I just didn't want to live my life like that anymore. And I went back to all raw about 8 months ago. This time around, I decided I was going to have to figure out how to make it so delicious I wouldn't be tempted by any of that other junk again. So I trained and became a raw food chef. Got over my fear of knives by training with some sushi chefs. And now the food that I'm making tastes better than anything I ever ate before that was cooked. For instance, right now I'm making a hazelnut chocolate truffle that is out of this world. And I have this great group of friends here who are raw curious, and they come over and we have little dinner parties, and everyone loves the food. We've got a great big group of people here in town who get together monthly for potlucks, and we swap recipes and share tips on how to keep it raw. And I just love my new life. I couldn't believe it. I actually ended up on stage at the Apollo Theater in Harlem in my showgirl costume last Halloween. So it was truly a dream come true. How about you? Could you go raw for 30 days?